Short answer, absolutely not. I didn't in real estate. I grew up wanting to be a lawyer. My job didn't fulfill me. It paid the bills. I couldn't see myself doing that for another 30 to 40 years. I said, I'm going to get my real estate license. Without any hesitation, she said, do it. I worked 2 jobs for 2 years before I went into real estate full time. So we made this really cool video about my why. If you treat people well and be who you are and be genuine and show integrity, you're going to go far in this business. So just stay true to who you are. Don't give up. Continue to build relationships, show integrity, and the sky's the limit.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Strategies podcast. Joining us today is always Mr. Tyler Davis, and we have an awesome guest here, Mr. Mo Carpenter.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining the show. And
Pleasure.
Mo is with Gallery Homes Real Estate. And so I think we have not had anybody from the real estate side of things, maybe a little bit on the development world, but nobody who, has grown their own business and been on the real estate side. So we're really super excited for you to be here today. I think we're gonna get a lot of different things from your story all the way through to maybe some advice that you got for listeners today.
I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's get started. Let's jump in, and why don't you tell us a little bit about, have you always wanted to be in real estate, or how the heck did you get into this awesome business?
Yeah, great question. Short answer, absolutely not. I didn't in real estate. I grew up wanting to be a lawyer. I always thought I was going to be a lawyer. Went to school, went to Wittenberg right down the street from here, majored in political science. Graduated from Wittenberg and applied to take the LSAT and did that. And then I realized that I have had a whole bunch of student loan debt, and I didn't want to go into more debt. So my parents decided for me that I was going to get a job instead of going to law school, which I'm super thankful for at that time.
Yeah.
And so, didn't always want to be a realtor. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you kind of took a job out of school, and was that kind of like a corporate job, and
Sure.
you've been working there?
Yeah, so it was a corporate job.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be there for a season, maybe 6 months.
Sure.
I got the job because I wanted to stay in Springfield. I met a girl that ended up being my wife. So I wanted to stay here for her. So I decided to just get a intro level job and just see what happens in the near future. And it turns out I was going to spend my next 12 years at that company. So
Sure.
yeah.
So what made you want to kind of transition and start looking elsewhere?
Yeah, so I did a lot of self-reflection at the very beginning of COVID. A lot of us had a lot of downtime.
Sure.
And so I started looking at all parts of my life, not just from a career perspective, from a family perspective, husband perspective, but from a career perspective, I just realized that my job didn't fulfill me. It paid the bills. I had a great team that I work with, but at the end of the day, I couldn't see myself doing that for another 30 to 40 years. So I started thinking about things I enjoy doing, which is building relationships.
Mhm.
And I had always, not always, but when we first bought our first house in 2014, I joked with my wife that I was going to be a realtor eventually because our realtor seemed really cool and her job seemed awesome.
Sure.
So I told my wife one day I was going to be a realtor. And then I remember just like it was yesterday, we were sitting on a couch in 2020. And I looked at my wife. She was as close as you and I are. And I said, I'm going to get my real estate license. And my wife is very risk averse when it comes to finances. And so I didn't know how that conversation was going to go. And without any hesitation, she said, do it. And
That's awesome.
that's all I needed for me to get going. So about 10 days later, I was sitting in my first Zoom class for real estate. And so it kind of just went quickly, the whole process.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have a kind of abrupt jump from corporate into just only real estate, or was it a slow grind?
Yeah, so one of my promises to my wife was that I was going to keep my corporate job until I could get my feet wet and could get a few sales underneath my belt. So actually, I worked 2 jobs. I worked the corporate job where I managed a team of 12 people, and real estate for 2 years before I went into real estate full time.
Yeah.
Sarah, I think I'm sure my wife and my kids did not like my schedule during that time. They probably didn't like me as a person at that time because it was full go. I mean, I was working 8 to 5, and then during my lunch hours, I was scheduling showings, and after work, I was going to those showings, and evenings I was writing contracts. So it was a crazy 2 years. I honestly don't know how I got through it, but we did.
Yeah. Well, I was talking off camera before we started. That's pretty much the identical story of mine too, and I'm sure of many entrepreneurs and business owners, especially when they are taking the journey once they have a family and they have to provide the roof and the groceries and the insurance and all that fun stuff. And, thinking back, I'm sure you're like, how did I do it?
And it makes you appreciate the grind so much more, and to be able to just to be able to tell that story of those 2 years, to people that are thinking about making that jump from corporate life to, starting their own business, and for them to hear how much work that you have to put into it, because you don't wanna, shortcut that. I think it's important for people to know that. I think it gives them a good perspective what they're gonna face, so
Yeah, I always call it the golden handcuffs. I mean, it's real. The salary and the benefits package awarded to you from a corporate job while you're feeling it's not fulfilling,
Mhm.
it's a big, big leap
Hey,
to
man,
make.
that PTO you get there too. It's hard to leave stuff with the planned time off, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. So you kind of make this decision with your wife and family, and you're saying, okay, I think I'm going to pursue this. Like, how did you kind of start? Like, was it friends and family? Was it community? Like, what did that look like to kind of start getting your foot in the door with places?
Yeah, so actually my friend Brandon, he was the first person other than my wife to know about me getting into real estate. And I don't think I could even afford to pay for the real estate classes at that time. I think it was around $1,600 for the initial classes and another $500 for the study guide. So I went to Brandon and I was like, Brandon, will you pay for my real estate classes? And he was nice enough to offer to pay for them. We didn't end up going along the path of him paying for them, but he gave me the encouragement to get into the business. I remember him asking me so many times, "When are you gonna leave Assurant?" And I was like, "I'm not leaving Assurant. Like, I have a great job. I'm going up the corporate ladder. Like, I had dreams of being vice president, and all of those different things. So, with the cool job titles, but to hear him, just give me that encouragement, like, "Hey, this fits your personality," and other people in my family started encouraging me as well. That just kinda gave me the jolt to really get those classes done and, hit the ground running. And so once I got past my test, I started brainstorming with Brandon on how to make the announcement to everyone. And so we came up with this really cool video that he produced for me, and it explained why I was getting into real estate. I didn't want to just make a social media post saying, "Hey, I got my realtor's license. Would love to work with you to help you buy or sell your home." I thought that's what everyone else was doing.
Right.
So I wanted to be unique. So we made this really cool video about my why I was getting into real estate, about how I love to build relationships, and started talking about people that have been impactful to me in my life, and that I want to show my integrity throughout the real estate transaction. And it was so cool because when he produced this video and we shared it on social media, I thought I might get a few comments or likes and shares and things like that, but it honestly went viral. I had hundreds and hundreds of shares from that video, and my broker that I work with now, who's my partner, I remember coming into the office the next day, and she was like, "Are you famous or something?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "That video has been played everywhere." So that was just such a cool start in my real estate journey to know that I had the support of so many people,
Sure.
in the community. That just kinda gave me the energy I needed to hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I'll say that Brandon guy, he's pretty talented himself.
Yeah.
For any of our listeners, Brandon is the one who is now working for me, and yeah, he's awesome. Does some really good videos, and he's hanging out here off camera. But
He's
yeah,
a good dude.
yeah, good guy, good guy. So yeah, so you start going viral, and you start to you're like, hey man, my impressions are out there. People
Mhm.
are hearing my story a little bit, trying to do things different. Like, when did you start starting to see, like, oh, I'm good at this. Like, I'm starting to see some traction. Like, I'm building something here to where, I'm be able to kind of finally kind of leave, where I'm at, and pursue this.
Yeah, great question. So the day after I got licensed and I posted that video that I just described, my aunt reached out to me, who had a duplex in Columbus, an investment property she owned for probably 30 to 35 years.
Sure.
That my mom actually helped her get, and that's how I learned that day that my mom used to be a realtor for one transaction, and it was the transaction I was you guys about. So it kind of came full circle that my aunt reached out and she was like, "Hey, I have this duplex. Your mom actually helped me purchase this in the 80s. I would love for you to sell it for me." And I'm like, "Wow, I literally just got licensed 2 days ago, and you want me to help you with this?" I had no idea what I was doing. But my broker held my hand throughout that transaction. It went great, sold them quickly. I mean, we had a contract within 2 days of it being on the market. I remember it being all cash. So I got to post that we sold that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then an amazing gentleman from my church reached out a few weeks after that and gave me the opportunity to sell one of his homes, this beautiful home in Enon, just west of here. And I couldn't believe that these people with these precious properties were trusting a new realtor to sell their homes. They didn't care about my lack of experience. They went with me because they know me and the person that I am and that they had a relationship with me. And that was much of my first 6 months in real estate, was just these people reaching out. I mean, people from my church, the community. So within the first 6 months, I knew this could turn into something good. Now I had my doubts on how long I could sustain it, but I've been blessed enough to say that it's just continuing to be this way 5 years into the game. So
Yeah, for sure. And I think, that's a really kind of powerful story that I hope, some of our listeners are taking away, because a lot of times folks come to me and they say, we need help with marketing and advertising, or we need this grand plan for how we can sell a bunch of more stuff, whether it's, they manufacture, make widgets, or they're a service provider. And I think a lot of times what people forget is like your greatest ability to sell more, meet more people is just be good at what you do,
Mhm.
and really take care of the people as like you slowly build your business. They'll do a lot of the marketing for you, and it'll turn into like, you don't have to come up with a bunch of content, because you can just rely on some of the people who are leaving you reviews, or just be like, hey, listen, if you enjoyed my experience, like go tell 5 people. And I think that that's super powerful. And like, sure, there comes a time where you want to, do more for if it's advertising stuff, but like you got to kind of build that core of like really good customers, and they'll really help you out.
That is so well said. I tell my realtors and anyone that's getting into the real estate business, if you treat people well and be who you are and be genuine and show integrity, you're going to go far in this business. It's not about what you know in real estate. Anyone can learn that, but not everyone can treat people well. So they're so right. We don't even really advertise our business. We post on social media and that's it, but we don't pay for leads. It just comes from our past clients. They're our biggest referral source, so we're super thankful for them. So
Yeah, and I think there's something else with that is like a lot of times people are looking for like I need to have 100 leads, and I'm like, no, give me 10 really
Well,
good referral ones, and I don't have to go chase down maybe bad fit folks or whatever. And like again, that's another profit margins. We won't go on all that stuff too, but like
Why
you're
not?
spending your why not? But if you're spending your time doing things that are going to be profitable for you as a business, obviously that makes a big difference.
yeah. Unfortunately, you see a lot of new realtors when they're getting into business. Some of the first questions they ask the owners of the brokerages, "How many leads are you going to get me? Or what's your lead source?" And some of my first answers is just, it's your sphere of influence. Like it's your family, it's your community, and sometimes new realtors don't want to hear that. They're just looking for things to be handed to them, and
Mhm.
yeah.
So tell me about the day you decided to quit Assurance.
Yeah, so this was I got licensed September 11th, 2020, and I quit Assurant February of 2022, so about a
Yeah.
year and a half later. And the reason I stretched it out for that year and a half out is I told my boss with 6 months in that, hey, I was going to leave, and so she was given advance notice, but things at my corporate job just got so busy, and I felt so bad to leave at
Yeah.
that time. So I kept just postponing it and postponing it and postponing it. Um, but when I was able to leave, it was bittersweet. I built so many great relationships with the people at that place. I mean, I spent 12 years there, and I learned business from that place. I learned how to treat people. I don't even think I knew how to like CC someone on an email before I started that job. So it taught me so much on from a business perspective. Built a lot of great relationships. Got a lot of clients from there actually. So
Mm.
it was bittersweet, but I was so excited for my next journey. Um, just being able to, instead of being tied to a desk all day, being able to schedule lunch meetings and go out
Sure.
and meet people and continue to build those relationships. It's awesome. So
Yeah. So you make that kind of leap, and you're out on your own. You're doing well. When did you kind of get to that point where you're like, oh, I might need some help. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep doing this all on my own.
yeah, I think my wife made me realize that before I did. I mean,
You were in work mode, man.
Right, yeah.
You're from one into 24/7. So
when you're starting a business, you don't want to you don't want to just turn it down. You want to take everything you can because you don't know how long it's going to be good for.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was blessed enough to have people coming at me left and right. I mean, I remember at one time I had 9 buyers at one time. And I mean, buyers are great, but they get excited to see homes, so they wanna see them. Like, sometimes they wanna see 6 a day and things like that. And it was just too much. I mean, I was so exhausted. And so my wife and I had a long conversation, and she was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to start picking and choosing, like, what's most important to you, and give away some of your business." So I started thinking about growing a team.
Hmm.
And I actually broached one of the ladies that I managed at my corporate job. Her name's Lydia, and she had a customer service job there, and she just treated people well. She treated her clients well there. Yeah, her communication was amazing. And so I reached out to her and I said, "Lydia, have you ever thought about getting your realtor's license?" And she hadn't at all. And I explained to why I thought she would be good at it. And so she had enough trust in me from being her boss and at the corporate job that she just decided to go for it. And that's how I kind of started my team with Lydia. And then since then, we've hired Miranda and Christina. So the team continues to grow.
Awesome. Awesome. So I think that's another key thing to take away. Like, you didn't necessarily go find another super experienced realtor. You went for the personality and the people fit first.
Yeah, I didn't care about sales numbers per se.
Yeah.
I wanted to work with someone that I knew had the same values as me.
Hmm.
That was more important to me than anything. And Lydia definitely had those values. So, and I still feel so blessed today that she trusted me enough to take that journey into getting her license, 'cause that's not easy. She spent a lot of hours studying for that test, and a lot of hours with me training. So I'm thankful for her for trusting me to get the ground running with our team. So
Awesome.
Well, it sounds like you also, saw an opportunity to maybe build her up as well.
yeah,
And we've seen that with some of the leaders that we've interviewed where they find a lot of success when they are looking for opportunities to have employees grow. You probably saw something in her.
yeah, and I definitely did. She she's a single mom. That just is a rock star. Had a great corporate job, and still, with her being a single mom and having a corporate job, and her daughter is busy with extracurricular activities, she put in those hours to get licensed. So I feel like I will always owe her. And I remember with the first transaction she had in real estate, it was someone that worked at the company that I used to work for, and she treated them so well throughout the transaction. Seeing her confidence grow in real estate and the way she handles people and builds relationships, it's that's better than money to me. Like, just her growth. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, kind of sticking with a little bit of the story standpoint, I'm curious from your perspective, like, as you've, worked with folks, maybe you've worked with maybe first time home buyers or folks that have, had multiple homes. Like, are there any stories that maybe stick out in your head where you're like, this was such a cool, like, thing that, either you personally were able to help them through, someone on your team was able to, like, any stories like that where you're like, man, this is just like, this is why I do this. Like, this is why I get up in the morning.
yeah, that's a great question. There was a lady from my high school that reached out to me to be a realtor, which was so shocking to me because I hadn't talked to this lady in 15 plus years. And I read this random Facebook message. We literally haven't seen before me showing her houses. I hadn't seen her since high school. So we're talking 20 plus years and haven't seen each other in 15 years. So I was so shocked when I got this random Facebook message asking me to be a realtor. And so this was in 2021 when the market was absolutely insane. And when I mean insane, yeah, you didn't go to a house with the contract that day, you weren't going to be able to see the house the next day.
I feel that. I bought my house in 21.
Did you?
And
I sold my house. But for me, I can't see it.
And she was looking at an area in Columbus, and she wanted to be in Westerville only in Columbus, which was
Sure.
a super popular area. So we go see this house. It went on the market at 11 a.m. We got there at 1:30. I kid you not, there were already 4 offers on the house in 2.5 hours.
I believe it.
There ended up being 18 offers on the house within 24 hours. Wow. I didn't think we had a chance in getting this house, and neither did she. I mean, we went in with the competitive offer, but with 18 offers, no way you think you're going to get it. And so I had been in communication with the other realtor, kind of built a relationship with him within that 24-hour period, asking
Sure.
questions about what is most appealing to the seller, things like that. And the realtor was great in communicating back, and we probably got on the phone 20 plus times within that 24-hour period. Still didn't think anything of it. He calls me 2 days later, and he was like, "Your buyer got the house," and I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "You weren't even top 10 in, like, the highest offer." He was like, "But you know why you got the house? Because of the way you communicated with me, because of the questions you ask. I was able to communicate that with my clients, and they really appreciated that. I was able to explain the story on why my buyer really wanted that house specifically, and that pulled on the seller's heartstrings, and they chose our offer over 10 other higher offers." And to this day, I still can't believe we got that house, but that was so
Yeah.
cool that she was able to get it, and that's, like, her dream home, so
That's so cool.
yeah.
That's like, and I think more, so I didn't know, this was me when I was down, when I was buying my house, I was like, you know, hell, they're looking at numbers. I'm like, so I just got to have the highest number. I was like, there's just not going to be an opportunity. And I learned that story, like there are a lot more people out there where it's like, no, they may actually look at, they may not take the higher number. There's other things and
Oh.
account. For me, I've always viewed real estate much more transactional. And then talking to other folks and obviously hearing that story too, I know there's a little bit more, to that story sometimes than just like your straight kind of transaction. Like I get this and I don't, whatever.
Yeah, that's so well said, and you wouldn't believe it. I would say half the time it's not bottom dollar which matters to the seller. So we ask that question whenever we're in a multiple offer situation. What matters? Even when we're not in a multiple offer situation, what matters most to your clients?
Mhm.
And yeah, sometimes it's not bottom dollar. So
Yeah.
For us, it was just like the likelihood of actually closing, because I didn't realize how easy it is for a deal to fall through. So somebody can throw you a crazy offer, but like, is it going to raise? Do they have the backup financing to do that? And like, you look at, there could be something right in the middle of the pack that seems like a sure deal, and you can get through with it.
we are seeing so many offers fall through for various reasons. So that's why we work when I represent a seller, I'm calling that buyer's lender to ask those questions. Obviously, they don't have a crystal ball, but I want to bet the lender and the buyer as much as possible with as much information they can give me. So it's a great point.
For sure. So you're, you've obviously been in the, industry for quite some time now, continuing to build a team. So, a lot of times this is an industry or something where people start to get passionate about, or they want to learn a little bit more about it. Like maybe what advice would you have for somebody who is maybe looking to get into the real estate game or maybe start their career in that side of things?
Yeah, I would say to make sure you set boundaries. That's so important. When you're new in a business, you really just want to take off and willing to sacrifice everything, right? We all want to feed our families, and we all want to have a paycheck, but you got to set boundaries. You got to make sure you keep what's most important to you. And then not all business is good business. It's okay to say no to some things. I tell my realtors in real estate, not only when you go on these appointments, it's the client interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them to make sure it's a good fit. So I would say those two things to make sure you set boundaries, and then also realize that not all business is good business.
Yeah. Yeah. And what are maybe some of those misconceptions or myths or, things you maybe hear in the industry where you're like, it's not really like that, or you might want to, rethink becoming the next, Grant Cardone or whoever. Yeah.
I think reality TV has really put a bad stigma on give our industry a bad reputation. You see these selling sunset shows or $1 million listings, and people just think they're going to get in real estate and make all of this money. And you have this driver, even though we're in Springfield, Ohio, they think they think that real estate is just all. You put a sign on the yard and you're going to sell a house and it's easy. You make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Realtors actually work. It's not as simple as putting a sign in a yard and accepting an offer and going to the closing table.
Yeah.
There's so much more behind the scenes work, and I don't think reality TV really captures that correctly. So
For sure.
and I gotta admit that I thought the same thing before I got into real estate. My wife and I love $1 Million Listing. There's a LA version and a New York version, and so I gotta admit I'm one of those people that didn't think real estate would be that hard. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So you're, as you continue to grow this business and you, like I said, we've mentioned before, your teams grow and, you're doing things for residents, like, what's some of those things you're getting into now? Like, what makes you excited about, maybe next month or next 6 months, 12 months for your business and where things are going?
Yeah, I want to get into commercial real estate. I have a lot of friends that are starting to think about business ventures,
Yeah, sure.
which is cool. So they're coming to me with like wanting to buy commercial buildings or restaurants and things like that. So I'm trying to get some more experience in that. I've had the opportunity to sell a couple churches, and then a commercial building for a daycare center. So it's cool seeing my friends get more into launching businesses. So as I get more opportunities to help them, I want to learn more from a commercial perspective. My passion will always be in real estate though, because that's where the relationship started me. I love giving the keys to a first time home buyer. Commercials not really the same as far as from a relational standpoint, but I still am excited about learning more about it. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you could probably have some great stories though once you get into it with like Main Street businesses. Like it's that person who just started a restaurant, or there's probably some really fun stories there. I just didn't realize how dramatically different commercial real estate and residential is, even just from financing to terms to negotiation. It's a whole different world. It seems.
different, yeah. The types of loans, the amount of money needed for closing, it's a whole nother world. But to your point you made earlier, you're right. It's still cool to see those businesses open up. For example, I helped a lady start get a commercial building for her daycare business, and my daughter ended up going a few years later. Yeah, so that was so cool. So, and that business is thriving today. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we've covered quite a bit in a short period of time, though. We've, talked a little about your story from, how you started in corporate, making that jump to growing a team and some things that you've seen, share some stories about some of the awesome things you've been able to done for some of your customers and just how you've seen your team grow and where we're going. Even got some advice from us, or is there anything else where you're like, man, like I would be remiss if I didn't also include or maybe a piece of advice or anything else for any of our listeners?
Yeah, great question. I just want to tell everyone to just be true to yourself. When you're starting a business, it's easy to lose sight of your values and you just want to make everyone happy. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself. Whether that's counseling, whether that's having an accountability partner, those things are important in being successful. And it's okay to fail. I think we see these people, these successful people, business people, and we think they've never failed, but they failed before. So just stay true to who you are. Don't give up. Continue to build relationships, show integrity, and the sky's the limit.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that.
I don't think I can say it better than that.
No, I have not. No, that's awesome. Well, thank you again, Mo. We appreciate your time today. I think this is going to be a really good episode. I think listeners get a lot of different things out of this and a lot of different aspects. So, yeah, thanks for having us. And by the way, beautiful house. Thanks for having
I
us.
want to thank you guys for first off making a drive up here. I think it's down here for us.
Down to the right.
Down. I've had a chance to watch a couple of the episodes that Brandon sent me. You guys are doing awesome things. So
Thank
I was super honored to be a part of this. Really appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Your time.
awesome. Appreciate it. So, till next time, thank you, everybody. And stay tuned. We got a lot more episodes and a lot more awesome guests. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Next Gen Strategies podcast, where we share real stories and practical strategies to help you grow your business. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to like and share it on all of our social media channels.